One drone. A window of 30 seconds. A factory turning out 500 drones a month goes silent. You clicked for the strike, stay for the puzzle. How did elite Russian air defenses, from Japard 35mm guns to Panzer batteries and Gravestone radar, let in 196 cross a layered shield at 50 to 150 meters? This is the story of a corridor rule, a -5 degrees gun limit, and a hard stop on firing between 0420 to 0430 that opened a path. We'll break down the route, the spoofing, the jamming, and the thermite hit that erased months of drones in minutes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Why would a network built to kill low flyers let one pass? Start with the rule that outranked the guns. A 30-second, pre-briefed no-fire slot aligned with a 50 to 150 meter ingress. It wasn't a glitch, it was a corridor. At exactly the moment the track touched the line, the rulebook took the shot away. Stack the defense. Gravestone-class radar hunted the low sky. Panzer stood by for point defense. Japard 35mm guns covered the last mile. On paper, that grid is lethal. But an auditable prohibition sat over it from 0420 to 0430. A typed line that said hold fire within this altitude and speed band through these coordinates. The machine could bite. The order told it not to. Here's the rub. Twin 35s can engage at 150 meters with radar cueing. That's the brochure. The day's order said if the track held the altitude, speed, and route profile, you keep your finger off the trigger. One path, one timing, one rule. So the approach ran like a chess opening. Fixed speed, shallow terrain mask, rail junction to river bend, waypoint to waypoint, each leg laid on the corridor's geometry.
Biggest Russian drone and missile attack of the war. Ukraine says Moscow fired 550 drones and 11 missiles overnight.
To Russia launching a massive aerial assault against Ukraine, the biggest since the invasion more than 3 years ago.
Rescue workers say one person died and 26 were injured.
The drone didn't surge or weave. It held the numbers that matched the matrix. Research backs the why. Low-altitude radar sees clutter, ground reflections, and broken returns that drag down track quality. Procedures exist to stop blue-on-blue and filter decoys, but those same guardrails can freeze operators at the worst second. You know this if you've sat a scope at dawn. Old doctrine demanded permission cycles. The autonomous tempo doesn't wait. The drone rode the gap it was briefed to use, and it arrived precisely when the rule said silence. Then physics weighed in. Panzer's cannons can't depress below -5 degrees. If the contact is close, lower than the berm line, or masked by roofs, the barrels can't pitch down to hold it. At 4 kilometers with a 50-meter altitude, the geometry beats the gun. So the screens showed a compliant track. Break ROE and gamble or let it skate the seam. The system didn't fail. It obeyed. Timing and angles granted passage. And if guidance should break under jamming, there's a fix that doesn't ask a radio for help. If GPS went dark and spoofers lied, why did the track stay true? A drone shrugged off a denial bubble and still found a roof seam. That's not luck. That's design.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said before he'll consider peace talks, Russia must meet one condition.
Stop shelling us, stop killing civilians.
It wants to continue to brutalize the Ukrainian people, wants to continue to shell their cities and towns.
In the last 12 months, Russia has killed tens of thousands of Ukrainian men, women, and children.
Uprooted more than 13 million people from their homes, bombed more than 700 hospitals, and yet the spirit of the Ukrainians remains unbroken. If anything, it's stronger than ever.
Start with the jammer. Pull, 21, style denial floods the band, breaks satellite lock, and feeds false fixes that push most drones to fail-safes. Return, hold, or crash. The usual kill chain stacks 3 moves. Jam the sky, spoof the coordinates, then hit the control link and force a takeover. Works on anything that needs a signal. But then it meets a platform that cut the cord. Receivers pulled. RF paths snipped. No link to hijack. No GPS to blind. You can drown the air in watts and it still hears nothing. Silence wins. So it rides the map. Visual and terrain reference navigation take over. Stored tiles of highways, rivers, rail yards, and factory roofs. A camera sampling contrast, edges, and junctions. An inertial unit counting tiny shifts. An altimeter pinning height to ground. The route is a ladder of landmarks. Checks each rung as it goes. Research and field use point to tight drift when you pair visual odometry with a good inertial core and baro or laser altimeters. Over long legs, you can hold sub-100-meter accuracy because the features reset the error. No satellite. No call home. Just math and terrain. Now look at the jammer again. Barrage noise hits a deaf ear. No receiver means no blinding. No data link means no corruption. The electronic attack turns into weather, loud, present, irrelevant. Think of a courier with the path tattooed on his arm. Cut the phone, jam the net, the runner still threads the alleys by memory. You can't spoof ink. But if it arrives, does a small warhead move the needle inside a defended complex? It does when the payload is chemistry, not blast. A thermite canister in a terminal dive bites through sheet metal, pours heat into stored airframes and composites, and starts a chain burn. Rack to rack, inventory becomes fuel. Minutes erase months. Hardware strength met procedural gaps. Electronic warfare met autonomy. The more disciplined the defense, the cleaner that precise outlier slips through. Layered defense didn't lose to firepower. It lost to timing and angles. A narrow window and a depression limit carved a seam, and an autonomous route threaded it clean. So what do you fix first? Do you kill the corridor rules, change gun geometry, or rewrite the EW playbook so autonomy doesn't skate past noise? Comment your choice below, and subscribe if you want this level of tactical breakdown. The next fight is procedural. Rules, checklists, and map-driven paths will decide who gets a shot and who gets through. Subscribe and join a community that seeks to understand the realities of modern conflict.